Hello there. So I thought I'd do a sort of a different sort of video. Um, we pretty much we all have bands we like that are our favorites. Um, some some make really good albums. Like all their albums are good. Like for examples, King Crimson never made a bad album, or even a mediocre album. All their albums are pretty much perfect, and the Beatles never made a bad album. Van der Graaf Generator never made a bad album. If we're talking about metal bands, Slayer's never made a bad album. Um, who else? Led Zeppelin didn't really make a bad album. Queen didn't really make a bad album. Uh, there might have been a couple Led Zeppelin albums that weren't as great as most of the other ones, but they weren't bad. Um, Black Sabbath didn't really make any bad ones, so but some bands did. Some of them weren't so awful, like as awful uh as awful as others, but a couple of these I'm gonna mention are pretty terrible, like beyond belief terrible. So I don't know if you can call this a countdown, but uh, I'll save a couple for towards the end. So where to begin? Um, so I'll start out with the less bad ones. I guess I'll mention Rush first. They didn't make any horrible albums or anything. They just made a few boring ones. Like after like the 90s came along, they used the synthesizers less, and I don't know, the music became sort of meh sounding. That's that's been like every album since, like, I don't know, after Roll the Bones or whatever, which was an okay album itself, but in their first album could be the worst one. I'm not sure. It sounds like they're trying to be Led Zeppelin. They're pretty much a Led Zeppelin wannabe on that one. Um, yeah, not that good. Um, um, what was I gonna mention? Oh yeah, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Um, yeah, Love Beach wasn't a very good album for him. I do own that, but I didn't pull it out. Uh, that wasn't a very good one for him. I mean, I don't hate it as much as other people. I think it has a couple of really good songs, like Canario, the instrumental, and uh, side two, The Memoirs of an Officer and Gentleman. That was a I thought that was a really cool song. Yeah, for ELP standards, it sucked. It sucked pretty bad compared to the previous output. Um, but my least favorite ELP albums are the two they did in the 90s, Black Moon, and even worse, In the Hot Seat. Not that, I don't like, they don't make me angry listening to them. I just don't like them really. The production's horrible. The only standout song I think is the song Black Moon, and maybe there might have been a couple other ones, but I like the song Black Moon. But I didn't care for it. And in the Hot Seat, my favorite song was the last song, the Emerson piano song, so that kind of tells you something. I don't feel like I'm listening to an ELP album when I hear those. I feel like I'm hearing something, I don't know, not ELP. So, yeah, there's that. Genesis. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Genesis. I pretty much like all their albums, but I will mention Calling All Stations with Ray Wilson on vocals. I don't hate that album like I used to. I used to despise it. Thought it was the worst thing ever, but you know, it's not really not that bad of an album. It's just shouldn't have been called Genesis, I don't think. It wouldn't have been so badly received. But I mean, it isn't one awesome album either, outstanding either. A lot of the songs I won't go on for too long. Kind of boring, you know, some spots, but there's some really good songs on it. Like the title track's okay. Congo is really good. Alien Afternoon, The Dividing Line, Not About Us. I mean, I like those songs. See, Shipwrecked, the only thing I don't like about Shipwrecked is the damn chorus. It's horrible. But the rest of the song's okay. There Must Be Some Other Way is okay, except just way too long. One Man's Fool is okay, but again, a bit meandering. So yeah, I don't hate that album. Like, it's probably a 3-star album for me. Might sound a bit high, but I really don't care. It's my opinion, so. Yeah, Calling All Stations, I don't hate it. I still like it better than a few Yes albums. I'll mention those later. But yeah, Genesis, I'm a big fan. They never made a bad like an awful album, like that I get angry just hearing the name. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about one that gets my gears grinding. How about the Grateful Dead make any bad ones? The Grateful Dead didn't really make any bad albums. It just made a few kind of lackluster ones. Like the songs sound way better live, so it makes the studio album sound kind of boring. Like I don't know, a bunch of their albums. I just rather hear the live recordings. You know, like in the end of the day, I'd much rather listen to Europe '72 than, I don't know, in most of their studio albums. I mean, that's just how it is with the Grateful Dead. Most of the songs are better live. That's how it is. They're definitely more of a live band, I think. Go to Heaven is kind of... Let me see that. Go to Heaven. What does it... I forgot what it had on it. It's been a while since there's so these would probably be their more towards the bottom of the barrel studio albums. Here's Terrapin Station. I'll say this: side 2, the Terrapin Station suite is fantastic. It's like some of their best work. Like if you said that was the best Grateful Dead song, I wouldn't argue with you. I just wish the rest of the album was like that. You know, I like Estimated Profit. That's a classic. Dancing in the Streets, Passenger, Samson and Delilah's okay. Sunrise, this is an album I like a couple tracks on, really. Or a couple of the songs, like Samson and Delilah, Passenger, done better live. In their Shakedown Street, I don't feel I hate this album as much as I should. I mean, it's the Grateful Dead trying to do disco in a couple songs. Like, that sounds like something I would hate, but I mean, Good Lovin', France, Shakedown Street. I really can't hate that song. Fire on the Mountain, I really like that one. Need a Miracle is okay. From the Heart of Me. I like Staggerly. All New Mingled Blues. The original is way better than this. If I Had the World, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not one of the best. Here's Go to Heaven. It's not bad. I mean, Alabama Getaway, Far From Me, Althea. Feel Like a Stranger is better live. Lost Sailors, okay. Sanctum Circumstance, I like. Easy to Love You, kind of boring. Don't Ease Me In is pretty good. Again, not bad. And Built to Last, I always kind of like this one, except there's a lot of Brent Midland songs on it that keyboardist they got in the 80s. There's not much Jerry Garcia songs. Foolish Heart, Just a Little Light, Built to Last, Blow Away. I mean, these are all good songs. Victim or the Crime. We Can Run. Standing on the Moon. You know, some of these, like, Just a Little Light and Blow Away I think are good Grateful Dead songs. But We Can Run and I Will Take You Home, Brent should have did some solo album and put those two songs, because let's face it, those two songs aren't really Grateful Dead, especially I Will Take You Home. Like, when I heard that first, I was like, what the hell is this? Good song, but it's not Grateful Dead. But Standing on the Moon and Picasso Moon, I really like those songs. Picasso Moon, that's one of my favorites. But yeah, no bad Grateful Dead ones, just a few lackluster ones. If I'm gonna mention Led Zeppelin, Coda's the worst one, I guess, but it's not bad. Just not one I really listen to. Couple of songs I like. I like Bonzo's Montreux and Darlene, and We're Gonna Groove. The Poor Tom. It's not bad. Let's see. Oh yeah, The Who. I like all the stuff when Keith Moon was still alive, but after Keith Moon died, I really only like Eminence Front. That's how it is. I mean, The Who without Moon is like Zeppelin without Bonham. That's how I see it. Iron Maiden, you could say the the Blaze Bayley albums. That was kind of a mistake. They should have known no one was gonna like that. The music, I mean, there was some good songs, but that guy did not fit Iron Maiden. Blaze Bayley. What was it? The X Factor and hell, I forget the other one he was on, but those are the ones that should be forgotten about. Oh yeah, Metallica. First of all, I don't think Saint Anger is a bad album. I really like that one. I'm just going to talk about these. Now this album, the songs aren't bad, it's just the history surrounding it. The Black Album. This has some good songs. I mean, I don't really care for some of the singles. I mean, Sad But True, Holier Than Thou, Wherever I May Roam's okay. Don't Tread on Me, Through the Never, Wolf and Men, God That Failed. I mean, there's some good songs on this. It's just this started. This is when Metallica sold their souls and never came back really. They were never the same after Justice for All, and this kind of depressing that to know this came out a couple of years after Justice for All. So while the music isn't bad at all, really, it's just the, I don't know, it's not it's a good album commercially for Metallica, but it's not a good metal album. And then we get Load. I like the first half of this. Pretty much, I like the first half of this. Mama Said, Ronnie, and the Outlaw Torn. The rest I can do without. I mean, again, the music isn't bad on this. It's just, like, really, this is Metallica, one of the godfathers of thrash metal. I mean, I do like some of these songs. That's just it. I mean, come on, this is Metallica we're talking about. I mean, this is Metallica. Then you get Reload, same thing really. I do like some of the songs on this, but it's probably the worst Metallica album, possibly. I mean, it's just leftover songs from the last album, so how seriously are you gonna take it? You know, I do like some of the songs. These albums still, they suck for Metallica standards. Oh, and the new album Hardwired had some songs I really liked, but had a bunch of filler songs I didn't really care for. But anyway, that's Metallica out of the way. I guess we're getting into the worst category. Well, let me get one of these. Alright. So, what next? Well, like I mentioned, majority of my favorite bands. I guess it's down to the last couple. So I'm going to talk about Yes. I like most of Yes's albums. I'm a big Yes fan. I just saw them a few days ago for the 50th anniversary tour. That was amazing. I definitely see that lineup again. Uh, but there's about four albums I that I thought were a contender for the worst. Two of them mainly consisted of mostly kind of lackluster, boring songs I didn't really care for, or that were memorable, lacked memorable songs. Another one, had a song that was overly familiar, and the rest of the songs were cheesy, and some of them were pretty bad. And the follow-up to that album, which tried to repeat the previous album but failed miserably, and it sucked. So I'm first going to talk about Open Your Eyes. It's not bad. It's kind of just the blah sounds. I mean, the whole thing seemed lackluster to me. I do love the title track, Open Your Eyes. Other than that, there's not much memorable songs. I mean, like I said, it's not bad. Just if I want to hear that era of Yes or whatever, I'd rather listen to The Ladder. The Ladder might be my top 10 Yes albums. It's a really good album. Yeah, and then I'm going to talk about Union. That was a flop of an album. I mean, it got so hyped up. The Bill Bruford and Tony Kaye, they're all joining back, and it's going to be one big reunion. The tour, I'm sure, was amazing, but the album, it could have been so much better. They should have used some of the material on Keys to Ascension. Wow, that's not one of my favorite albums. I kind of find that one a little bit boring. It still would have been better than most of what we got on. I mean, Union had a couple okay songs, but it could have been so much better. Bill Bruford was like, what the hell am I doing in this bullshit? I should be in King Crimson, the best band ever. Yeah, Union, that's one of the bottom albums. And now I'm going to mention 90125. Not a fan, really, of this album, or not a fan at all. I mean, Owner of a Lonely Heart, I'm sick of that song. It's just, why, why is this the most popular song? Hold On, It Can Happen is okay. Don't Like Changes, Cinema, I don't care. Don't Like Leave It. Our song, City of Love is awful, and Hearts is boring. It's not a very good album. At least for me. This is just a bastardization of what Yes once was. It's a shame. I mean, John Anderson they were proud of it. I mean, John Anderson said he was glad to be part of a commercially successful album. Good for him. It's good they achieved that, but it's time for me. As time went on, this album just it fell at the bottom of the barrel towards the bottom of the barrel. It's just, I mean, no Steve Howe, no Rick Wakeman, not Trevor Rabin. I mean, I'm sure Trevor Rabin's a nice guy. I'm sure he's awesome. I don't know. I I feel I sound terrible saying this, but I can't stand seeing Trevor Rabin play this song on some of those concerts, thinking he's playing the best song ever written. Uh, you know the yeah, not a very good album, but this one's even worse probably because it wasn't even that commercially successful, making it just a bad album all the way through. Big Generator. Does anyone like this album? I mean, Rhythm of Love is too cheesy for Yes. Big Generator is really cheesy. I mean, come on. Shoot I, Aim Low is just boring. Almost Like Love, Love Will Find a Way, don't like it. Finalize, boring. I'm Running, boring. And Holy Lamb, don't like it really. Not a good album. It's not much to say really. Same lineup. I think that's my least favorite Yes lineup. And I don't think Heaven and Earth or Fly From Here are bad albums. I really like those. I just listened to those again today. They're great albums if you really listen to them. I mind on that list I put those two albums towards the bottom, but they might be my top 10 now. I really like them. Oh boy. I can make a separate video about this. I've mentioned this album a few times before. This may or may not be the last time. But I have very strong feelings about this album. And I feel like it'll be a cold day in hell when I change my mind about this. Ladies and gentlemen, my most hated album by all the bands I like. This pile of crap. Momentary Lapse of Reason. I can't stand this album at all. I hate it. I hate this album. I hate it. I can safely say it. I do not like this one bit. This is just a bastardization of what Pink Floyd was. I mean, just look at... None of the people on this are on the album, really. And this is on, like, my top 3 albums of all time, so... This is just... Ugh. This made hipsters like Pink Floyd at the time thinking they didn't need Roger Waters. You're kidding? They were lost without Roger Waters. This is just a horrible David Gilmour solo album. This is garbage. I call this album garbage. I mean, Signs of Life is just a cheesy rip-off song, kind of. Learning to Fly is garbage, pretty much. The song everyone thinks is a Pink Floyd song, but it's not. Dogs of War is a pile of shit. One Slip is stupid. But, I mean, Tony Levin, you know, I'll give it a plus because Tony Levin's in it. From King Crimson. Oh, I fucking hate On the Turning Away. It's worst song ever. If you think that's one of the best Pink Floyd songs, then be my guest. Go jump off the nearest cliff. Yeah. Hate that song. Yet Another Movie's boring and pointless. Round and Round is pointless. New Machine. What the fuck were they thinking? This was terrible. Terminal Frost is stupid and boring and can't stand it. New Machine Part 2, why is there a Part 2? Sorrow, garbage. Crap album. Then we get the Division Bell, which is a million times better. It's the best thing David Gilmour ever did without Roger Waters' assistance. Yeah, this one, it's not one of my favorite Pink Floyd albums. In fact, it's more towards my least favorites, but not that I don't like this. It doesn't really feel like a Pink Floyd album. It feels more like a Gilmour solo album. You get a lot of Gilmour dreamy guitar sounds with this. Let's face it, without Rick Wright, this would be Momentary Lapse of Reason Part 2. I mean, I kind of drifted away from some of these songs. Cluster 1, I'm indifferent. I mean, instrumental, it's okay. What do you want? What do you want from me? Kind of stupid. Pulls apart. It has a lyric I can't stand in it about Syd Barrett. Did you know it was gonna go so wrong for you, and did you see it was gonna be so right for me? I mean, really? How do people not? I mean, then he says, "Why did we tell you? You were always the golden boy, and you'd never lose the light in your eyes." It sounds like he's has it out for Syd Barrett, doesn't it? I mean, I know at the end he does say, "I never thought you'd lose the light in your eyes," but I don't know. It's just a feeling. It feels wrong. Marooned, don't care. Great Day for Freedom's okay, but it's not a Pink. Doesn't sound Pink Floyd. Wearing the Inside Out. That's my favorite. That's the best song for me on it. It's great hearing Rick sing lead again. Take It Back kind of sucks. Coming Back to Life is okay. I like the guitar work. The intro is my favorite part of it. Keep Talking. Alright. Trying to be an epic, but it's okay. Lost for Words. I like the guitar work on this. And High Hopes. I don't know. This album has great music in it. It has some really good music, but some of the lyrics to High Hopes, it's about David Gilmour's early days. And that was going to be the last Pink Floyd song for a while. Come on, man. Oh, but it gets worse. You get this album, which is okay. I mean, it's instrumental music, except the last song is written by David Gilmour's wife. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, why? That's just the worst way to end a damn fucking band. They started out. This is one of the best albums ever conceived by human beings. I like it. It's probably my favorite Pink Floyd album at this point. But I mean, the person that replaced the leader, his wife writes the last Pink Floyd song. It sounds horrible. Not that the song is bad, really. I mean, some ways it is, but it's not how you end a band. And that's the way I see it. After Animals, it's all downhill from there. Animals is the last Pink Floyd sounding Pink Floyd album, really. The Wall, Roger Waters takes over, and let's face it, The Wall could have been done without Wright or Mason. You wouldn't tell the difference if someone else played their parts, because they weren't prominent in it, especially Nick Mason. That's when they started dying, and when Rick Wright left, they were their last breaths when Rick Wright left. The Final Cut, which I think is a really good album. The only problem I have with it is no Rick Wright. It's kind of a downer. But I really do like the Final Cut. But when Roger Waters left, it's they died. They're dead. They're dead, and momentary lapse of reason put the nail in the coffin. The Division Bell, I guess, was the funeral, while having some good moments. And the Endless River's the burial. They're dead. I mean, their music lives on, you know, but as the band themselves, direction-wise, they were dead, but the music will live on forever. I just find it a shame that, you know, the newer albums, you know, I think the David Gilmour, let's be honest, the David Gilmour-led Pink Floyd era was the worst Pink Floyd era, without a doubt, by a long shot. I mean, you could go to Mars and you can go to Pluto and back, and that's how long of a shot it is. Not that I don't like David Gilmour. He played an important role in the band. But I just think it's a shame that, you know, Learning to Fly and all those shitty songs, and the not so shitty Division Bell is more popular than this masterpiece. I mean, this is in my probably my top 3 albums of all time. It's with Sgt. Pepper and the Court of the Crimson King. Those are probably my top 3 albums right now. Just a shame that that stuff never gets discovered, while it being so much better. It's way better, trust me. But yeah, that's my pretty long rant about the worst albums by my favorite bands. That's all I have to say, really. I'll be seeing you on another video real soon, so stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you guys later.